The market ship drifted in deep space, far from any safe world. It was old, wide, and dark. Its metal skin was covered with scars from many fights. Inside, the ship was loud with strange voices, sharp smells, and flashing lights. This was not a place for mercy. This was a place where anything could be sold. On the lowest level of the ship, where light barely reached, there was a narrow hall. The floor was cold. The air was heavy. At the end of the hall stood a small cage made of black metal. Thick energy chains wrapped around it, glowing with a dull red light. Inside the cage sat an alien girl. She was weak. Her body was thin, and her skin showed marks of pain. Metal cuffs locked her arms and legs in place. Each breath she took was slow and careful. She had learned not to move unless she had to. Movement brought pain. Her eyes were open. They were large, bright, and full of fear. She had screamed before. She had begged. No one listened. No one ever listened. Most beings on this ship could not hear her kind of voice, and those who could hear it chose to turn away. Still, she tried one last time. She closed her eyes and focused her mind. Deep inside her, something old and broken answered her call. She pushed her fear, her pain, and her hope into the dark. It was not a sound. It was a feeling, a silent cry sent into the cold space beyond the ship. Help me. The signal moved through space like a weak light, past ships, stations, and worlds. Many minds felt it for a moment. Some felt fear. Some felt danger. Most pushed it away. Far away, on a small human cargo ship, a man suddenly grabbed his head. Ethan Cole was alone in his cockpit. He was flying through an empty trade path, half asleep and thinking about home. When the pain hit him, he gasped and almost lost control of the ship. "What the hell was that?" he muttered. His head hurt. His chest felt tight. His heart was beating too fast. For a moment, he felt something that was not his own. Fear. Deep fear. And sadness. Then it was gone. Ethan shook his head and tried to laugh it off. Space played tricks on the mind. Long trips did that. He checked his ship systems. Everything looked normal. He took a breath and reached for the controls. Then it came again. Stronger this time. Images filled his mind. Cold metal. Chains. Darkness. A pair of eyes staring out from a cage. Not human eyes, but close enough to feel real. "No," Ethan whispered. "I'm losing it." He tried to block it out. He turned up the ship radio. He focused on his flight path. But the feeling did not leave. It stayed with him, heavy and sharp. This time he felt a word. "Please." Ethan sat very still. Humans were not supposed to hear mind calls. He had learned that long ago. Only a few species used them, and humans were not one of them. So why could he hear this? He looked at his map. A warning symbol blinked nearby. An unmarked market ship floated just off the trade route. The kind of place smart pilots avoided. Ethan swallowed. He could keep flying. He could pretend nothing happened. No one would blame him. People disappeared in places like that. The feeling pushed again. Fear. Pain. Hope. Someone was begging. Ethan closed his eyes. His hands shook. "Damn it," he said softly. He changed course. As his ship moved closer, the signal grew clearer. It hurt more now, but it also felt focused. Like it knew he was coming. Ethan docked at the market ship. The metal doors closed behind him with a deep clang. The noise echoed through the hull. He stepped out into the main hall. Strange beings watched him from every side. Some had too many eyes. Some had none. No one smiled. The signal pulled him forward. Down. Lower. Into the dark. Ethan followed it until he reached the narrow hall. At the end, he saw the cage. And inside it, he saw her. The alien girl lifted her head. Her eyes locked onto his. For the first time since she was chained, someone had come. And for the first time, Ethan understood one clear truth. That cry was meant for him. Ethan stood still in the narrow hall. The cage was only a few steps away, yet it felt like a line he should not cross. The air around it was heavy, buzzing with the soft hum of energy chains. The alien girl inside did not move. She only watched him, her eyes sharp despite the fear in them. Up close, she looked even weaker. Her skin was pale with faint glowing lines that pulsed slowly, like a dying light. Metal cuffs bit into her wrists and ankles. Each chain was linked to a control node on the cage, ready to send pain through her body if she resisted. Ethan swallowed hard. He had seen slaves before. Most pilots had. But this was different. This was not just a body for sale. This was someone still fighting to exist. A tall trader stepped out of the shadows. His body was wide and armored, his voice low and rough. "Human," the trader said. "You are lost." Ethan did not look away from the cage. "What is she?" The trader made a sharp clicking sound, something like laughter. "She is trouble. A broken thing. Not worth your time." The girl flinched when the trader spoke. Ethan noticed it. His hands curled into fists. "She called for help?" Ethan said before he could stop himself. The trader's many eyes narrowed. "You heard that?" Silence filled the hall. Other traders turned to look. Some stepped back. "That should not be possible," the trader said slowly. "Humans cannot hear mind cries." Ethan felt cold. He had said too much. The trader leaned closer to the cage. "This one's kind ruled systems once. They bent minds and broke worlds. Now she is a warning, a reminder of what happens to those who rise too high." The trader tapped a control pad. The chains sparked. The girl cried out, her body shaking in pain. "Stop!" Ethan shouted. The trader smiled. "See? Dangerous. You should leave." Ethan's heart pounded. Every smart thought told him to turn around. This was not his fight. One wrong move and he would never leave this ship. But the girl's cry echoed in his mind. Not loud, just tired. "Help me." "How much?" Ethan asked. The hall went quiet. The trader stared at him. "You wish to buy her?" "Yes." Laughter burst from the traders around them. Some shook their heads. Others whispered. The main trader lifted a hand, silencing them. "You do not know what you ask. Her chains alone cost more than your ship." Ethan pulled out his trade chip and checked his cargo list. Medical supplies, fuel cells, rare metals, years of work. "I'll give you everything," he said. "All of it." The trader's eyes gleamed. "And your ship?" Ethan hesitated. His ship was his life. Without it, he was nothing. He looked at the girl. She was watching him now, confusion mixing with fear. She did not understand his words, but she felt his intent. She shook her head slightly, as if telling him not to do this. Ethan took a breath. "And my ship," he said. The trader stepped back, surprised. Then he smiled wide. "Deal." The trader pressed a command. The cage door unlocked with a sharp hiss. The chains dimmed, but they did not turn off. "Take her," the trader said, "and leave before I change my mind." Ethan stepped forward. As soon as he touched the cage, the control system reacted. Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed along the hall. The chains flared bright, sending a wave of energy through the girl's body. She screamed, loud and sharp, not in the mind but in the air. Ethan grabbed her, pulling her free as the cage collapsed behind them. The trader cursed. "She is bonded to the system," the trader roared. "You fool!" The girl gasped, clutching Ethan's arm. Her eyes burned with sudden light. She leaned close to him and forced out a single word in broken human speech. "Run." The floor shook as security forces rushed toward them. Ethan did not ask questions. He ran. Ethan's ship tore away from the market vessel just as weapons fire lit the dark. Alarms screamed through his cockpit. Warning lights flashed red across every screen. He did not slow down. He pushed the engines past safe limits and felt the ship shake in protest. Behind him, the market ship grew smaller. No pursuit followed. Either they thought he would die on his own, or they did not want to risk damage to their stolen goods. Ethan did not care. He was alive, and so was she. The alien girl lay on the floor of the cargo hold, wrapped in an emergency blanket. Her breathing was shallow. The glowing lines on her skin flickered like weak stars. The chains were gone, but their marks remained, burned deep into her flesh. Ethan knelt beside her, unsure what to do. He was a pilot, not a doctor. He scanned her with his med unit. The device beeped in warning, unable to read most of her biology. "Just stay with me," Ethan said quietly, though he did not know if she could understand. Hours passed. The ship drifted in silent space while Ethan worked. He cleaned her wounds as gently as he could. He adjusted the temperature to something between human safe and unknown. Every move he made felt like a guess. At last, her eyes opened. They were brighter now, not glowing but clear, sharp. She stared at the ceiling for a long moment, then turned her head toward Ethan. Fear flashed across her face. Her body tensed, ready for pain that did not come. Ethan raised his hands slowly. "Easy," he said. "You're not in the cage anymore." She watched him closely. Her eyes moved to the open space, the ship walls, the soft lights. No chains, no control nodes. Her breathing changed. She spoke in a strange, musical language. The words were soft but full of weight. Ethan shook his head. "I don't understand." She paused, then closed her eyes. The air around her seemed to shift. Ethan felt a light pressure in his mind. Not painful this time, just careful. Her voice came again, clearer now, shaped into rough human words. "My name is Caliph." Ethan let out a breath he did not know he was holding. "I'm Ethan." Caliph tried to sit up and failed. Ethan moved to help her, then stopped himself, unsure. She nodded slightly, giving permission. He supported her back. "You should not have come," Caliph said slowly. "Humans do not survive that ship." Ethan gave a tired smile. "I get that a lot." Her eyes studied him. "Why did you answer me?" The question struck deeper than he expected. Ethan opened his mouth, then closed it again. He did not have a good answer. "I just heard you," he said, "and I couldn't ignore it." Caliph looked away. "Others heard me before." Ethan frowned. "What happened?" "They turned away," she said. Her voice was calm, but the pain behind it was old and heavy. Some felt fear. Some felt profit. Silence filled the cargo hold. After a moment, Caliph spoke again. "My people were called the Leora." She closed her eyes as she spoke, as if seeing memories far away. "We built cities of thought and light. We healed worlds. We guided younger species." Ethan listened, unmoving. "They feared us," Caliph continued. "So they united. They burned our worlds. They killed our leaders. They kept a few of us alive. Not as slaves." Her eyes opened. "As proof." Ethan felt cold. "Proof of what?" "That no one escapes the chains," she said. The ship's lights flickered. For a brief moment, the glowing lines on her skin brightened, then dimmed again. Ethan felt a strange warmth pass through him, like standing near a fire on a cold night. "You are damaged," Caliph said suddenly, looking at him with surprise. Ethan blinked. "I'm what?" "Your mind," she said. "It should not hear me, but it does. Something in humans is open." Ethan laughed softly. "That explains a lot." Caliph tilted her head. "You joke after risking everything. Your kind is strange." "Yeah," Ethan said. "We've been told that." Caliph grew quiet. She looked around the ship again, her gaze settling on the stars beyond the small window. "They will hunt you now," she said. "For me." Ethan followed her gaze. The stars looked peaceful. Too peaceful. "I figured," he said. "But you're safe here. For now." Caliph turned to him, eyes wide. "No one has ever said that to me." The ship gave a low hum as it adjusted course. Far away, something ancient stirred. And for the first time in a very long time, Caliph felt something dangerous. Hope. Ethan's ship did not fly toward Earth. It drifted instead, slow and quiet, hiding between broken rocks and dead satellites near an old border system. Ethan shut down all non-needed power. The engines cooled. The lights dimmed. "Why are we stopping?" Caliph asked. Her strength had returned a little. She could sit without help now. The glowing lines on her skin were steady, no longer flickering like weak flames. "Because someone out there is looking for us," Ethan said. "And I don't want them to find us yet." Caliph closed her eyes. Her brow tightened. "They already know," she said softly. Ethan felt it then, a low pressure in his head. Not pain, not fear, awareness. "What did you do?" he asked. "I did not mean to," Calith replied. "The chains suppressed my signal. When they broke, my mind reached out. Just a little." Ethan let out a slow breath. "How far?" Calith opened her eyes. "Far enough." Across the galaxy, systems reacted. Old sensors woke from long sleep. Hidden beacons lit for the first time in centuries. Messages moved between powers that had not spoken since ancient wars. Leora was free. On Ethan's console, warning lights blinked. Multiple ship pings. Long-range scans. "Great," Ethan muttered. Calith stood, unsteady but determined. "You must leave me," she said. Ethan turned to her. "That's not happening." "You do not understand," Calith said. "If they take me back, they will punish you. If they cannot take me, they will burn your world to make an example." Ethan stared at her. "Earth hasn't done anything." "That has never mattered," Calith replied. As if summoned by her words, a secure channel opened on Ethan's screen. A human symbol appeared. Ethan froze. "That's Earth Command," he said. The screen filled with the face of an older woman in a dark uniform. Her eyes were sharp, her voice calm but tense. "Cargo pilot Ethan Cole," she said. "You are ordered to stop and explain your current situation." Ethan hesitated, then spoke. "I rescued someone. She was enslaved." Silence followed. "A non-human asset?" the woman asked carefully. "A person," Ethan replied. The woman's jaw tightened. "You have triggered multiple alien movements. Fleets are shifting. Some are heading toward our borders." Calith stepped into view. The woman's eyes widened. "My name is Calith of the Leora," Calith said. "I am under the protection of this human." The channel went silent. When the woman spoke again, her voice was lower. "Do you know what you are asking of us?" "Yes," Calith said. "I ask you to choose." The woman looked at Ethan. "You were told never to get involved in market ships." Ethan shrugged. "Yeah, I get that a lot." The woman closed her eyes for a moment. "You are ordered to surrender the alien to a neutral authority." Ethan felt the words hit like a weight. Calith turned away. "This is where it ends," she said quietly. Ethan looked at her back, at the scars, at the strength it took for her to stand at all. He leaned toward the screen. "With respect, ma'am, no." The woman stared at him. "That is a direct order." "I know," Ethan said, "but she asked for help." The channel cut. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then another signal appeared. Then another. Civilian ships. Small ones. Old ones. Mining rigs, supply haulers, family transports. They moved toward Ethan's position. Calith watched in disbelief. "What are they doing?" Ethan checked the open channels. Messages poured in. "We heard what you did. No one deserves chains. If they want her, they go through us." Ethan swallowed hard. "You told the truth," Calith said slowly. "Your people answer cries." Ethan did not reply. His eyes were fixed on the long-range display. Something massive had entered the system. A war fleet. Its ships were dark and sharp, moving with perfect order. Ancient symbols burned across their hulls. Calith's face went pale. "They have come for me," she whispered. The fleet formed a wall between Ethan's position and the path to Earth. A single message transmitted across all channels. "Surrender the Leora, or your species will be corrected." Ethan's hands tightened on the controls. Behind him, dozens of human ships moved into place. Small, weak, but unwilling to move. The galaxy was watching now, and humanity was about to answer. The alien war fleet did not attack at once. It waited. The massive ships hung in space like dark mountains, blocking every safe path forward. Their weapons glowed faintly, charged and ready. They did not rush. They did not need to. In their long history, fear had always done the work for them. Ethan's ship floated at the center of the human line. Around him were vessels that had no right to be here. Old cargo haulers, refitted mining ships, even a few personal transports with thin armor and weak engines. Kalith stood beside him, her hands shaking. "This is madness," she said. "They will destroy you." Ethan checked the power readings on his ship. They were bad. Really bad. "Yeah," he said. "That sounds about right." A message burst across all channels. The alien fleet spoke again, their voice cold and calm. "Humans, you are outmatched. You are irrelevant. Step aside." Kalith closed her eyes. Pain crossed her face, but she stayed standing. "They speak the truth," she said quietly. "Your weapons cannot break their shields." Ethan looked at her. "Then it's a good thing we're not here to break anything." He opened a wideband channel. "This is Ethan Cole," he said. His voice carried across every ship, human and alien alike. "You want her? You come through us." Silence followed. Then the alien reply came, sharp with amusement. "You protect a threat you do not understand." "We understand chains," Ethan said. "And we don't like them." The alien fleet fired. Not at the humans. A single shot cut through space and struck an unarmed human transport at the edge of the line. The ship vanished in a burst of light. No warning. No mercy. Kalith cried out, "Stop! This is my fault." More human ships moved forward. Ethan felt his chest tighten. Fear ran through him hot and fast. But no one retreated. Small ships formed tight groups. They used debris for cover. They jammed sensors. They launched drones not to attack, but to confuse. The alien commanders hesitated. This was not how wars were fought. Human ships did not aim for the biggest targets. They aimed for weak points, supply nodes, control relays, communication arrays. They did not try to win. They tried to slow. Kalith stared at the screens. "They are not fighting to defeat you," she whispered to the alien fleet's open channel. "They are fighting to protect." For the first time, doubt rippled through the enemy line. A human ship was destroyed. Then another. Each loss sent a shock through the human formation, but still they held. Kalith's breathing grew fast. The glowing lines on her skin brightened. Her hands trembled as she raised them. "If I release my power," she said, "they will know. All of them." Ethan shook his head. "Not yet." The alien fleet fired again. A beam tore toward Ethan's ship. Kalith screamed. The air twisted. The beam bent and shattered like glass against an unseen wall. Light flooded the cockpit. Alarms went silent. Kalith stood tall now, her eyes burning with soft white fire. "No more," she said. The human ships felt it at once. Their shields strengthened. Their systems stabilized. Not faster, not stronger, just steady. The alien fleet recoiled. "A Leora unleashed is a disaster," the enemy commander warned. "You will burn worlds." Kalith looked at Ethan. "Will I?" she asked. Ethan met her gaze. "Not if you choose not to." She turned back to the fleet. "I was raised in chains," she said, "but I choose who I am." The glowing lines faded, settling into her skin. The alien fleet began to pull back. Not from fear of her power, from fear of what stood beside her. Humans, weak ships, broken armor, no ancient glory, but still standing, still refusing to kneel. As the enemy fleet retreated, Kalith felt something shift deep within her. For the first time, she was not alone in the galaxy. And for the first time, the galaxy was afraid of the wrong species. The battlefield fell silent. The alien war fleet continued to pull back, slow and careful, as if expecting a trap. Their massive ships turned away from the fragile human line, not firing, not speaking. Space, which moments before had been full of light and death, now felt empty and tense. Ethan did not relax. "Don't trust it," he muttered. Kalith stood near the cockpit window watching the retreat. The glow on her skin was fading, sinking deep beneath the surface. Each breath she took was heavy, like someone who had carried a great weight and only just set it down. "They are not fleeing," she said. "They are deciding." That was worse. Across open channels, voices began to rise. Not commands, not threats, questions. Alien traders, border worlds, enslaved species hiding in silence for generations. They had all felt Calith's presence when she shielded the human ships. Not as a weapon, but as a promise. A signal reached out again. This time it was not a cry. It was an answer. Calith staggered as countless minds brushed against her own. Ethan caught her before she fell. "Easy," he said. "What's happening?" "They are waking," she whispered. "Others like me. Others who were broken. They felt choice." Ethan frowned. "Choice?" Calith nodded slowly. "I did not destroy. I did not rule. I protected. That is new to them." On a distant screen, an unfamiliar ship appeared. Then another. And another. Not warships. Prison carriers. Labor vessels. Hidden transports that had always avoided attention. Chains were breaking across the galaxy. The alien fleet sent one final message. "You will lose control," the commander warned. "Freedom spreads faster than fear." Calith stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. Then fear was never strong. The channel closed. For several long minutes, nothing happened. Then the first prison ship powered down its restraints. Then another. Ethan stared at the display, speechless. "Is this because of you?" Calith shook her head. "Because of you." Ethan blinked. "Me?" "You answered," she said. "That is where it began." The truth settled over him like gravity. One small choice. One moment where he did not turn away. The galaxy had noticed. Earth Command reopened the channel. The same woman appeared, but her expression was different now. Not hard. Not afraid. Careful. "Ethan Cole," she said. "We are receiving messages from systems we have never contacted before." Calith stepped into view beside him. "They ask about humanity," the woman continued. "They ask what kind of species stands between a slave and their chains." Ethan scratched the back of his head. "What did you tell them?" The woman almost smiled. "That we're still figuring that out." A pause. "You disobeyed orders," she said. "You risked war." "I know," Ethan replied. Another pause. "And yet," she said slowly, "the war is ending before it began." Behind her, advisors whispered urgently. Calith lowered her head. "I will leave human space," she said. "I will help my people and the others who rise. I will not bring danger to Earth." Ethan felt a tightness in his chest. "You don't have to go alone." She looked at him, surprised. "Humans will not rule," Ethan said. "But we don't walk away anymore." Calith reached out, placing her hand lightly over his heart. For a brief moment, he felt warmth, gratitude, and something like wonder. "Then the galaxy will change," she said. Across space, liberated ships altered course. Old empires sent silence instead of threats. Systems once locked in fear began to speak openly. Not because the strongest had won, but because someone had chosen to stand. As Calith prepared to leave, she asked one final question. "Ethan, why did your people follow you?" Ethan looked at the stars, then back at her. "Because deep down," he said, "we all heard the same cry, and this time no one ignored it. The war never came." Historians would later argue about the moment everything changed, but most would point to a quiet stretch of space where weak ships refused to move. No great battle, no final explosion, just a line that did not break. Ethan stood on the deck of his ship as the stars stretched ahead. Repairs were finished. Messages still arrived every hour from places he had never heard of. Some were thanks. Some were questions. All of them carried the same feeling. Hope. Calith stood beside him, wearing a simple travel cloak given by a human crew. The scars from her chains were still there, but they no longer defined her. The light beneath her skin was calm now, steady, like a sunrise that did not rush. "My people are calling," she said. "Not with fear, with trust." Ethan nodded. "Sounds like you've got work to do." She turned to him. "So do you." Earth had changed in small but real ways. The markets were watched now. Patrols moved where they never had before. Human ships began escorting refugees, not because they were ordered to, but because they chose to. No medals were given. No grand speeches were made. But stories spread. They spoke of humans as a strange species, short-lived, loud, often divided. But when someone cried for help, humans listened. Caliph faced Ethan fully. "The galaxy will test you," she said. "They will try to see how far your kindness goes." Ethan smiled faintly. "Yeah, we get tested a lot." She reached out and placed a small crystal in his hand. It was warm and light. "This will let me hear you. Always." Ethan closed his fingers around it. "Just in case, huh?" "Just in case," she replied. Her ship powered up. A sleek vessel formed from recovered Leora designs and human repairs. It was not a warship. It was something new. Before boarding, Caliph paused. She looked back at the human ships gathered nearby. Not a fleet. Presence. "They will tell stories about us," she said. "They will say the Leora were freed by a powerful species." Ethan shook his head. "That's not right." "No," Caliph agreed. "They were freed by a species that answered." She stepped onto her ship. The engines hummed, soft and strong. As her vessel vanished into the stars, Ethan felt the silence return. But it was not empty anymore. Behind him, a message arrived on open channel. Not from Earth. Not from any government. It was from a distant mining world. "We have chains here. Are the stories true?" Ethan did not hesitate. "Yes," he said. "They are." More messages followed. More cries. More chances to walk away. Humans did not answer all of them. But they answered enough. And the galaxy noticed. Years later, children on distant worlds would learn a new saying in trade speech. "When hope is gone, look for humans." Not because they were perfect. Not because they were strong. But because once, in a dark market ship, one human heard a voice he should not have heard. And he answered. That was how the universe learned the human name. Not as conquerors. Not as rulers. But as the ones who listened.